everybody. Welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line presented by Offside News. My name's Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Marcie.
Hello.
Hello. Well, this is a fun bonus episode because we're releasing this on a Wednesday. Woohoo! Surprise! But that's just because we had the opportunity to have a lovely sit-down chat earlier this week with Victoria Bach, who is member of the Ottawa Charge in the PWHL, and also she's won world championships and is incredible, fantastic. It'll play after this intro, but it was super awesome to get to sit down with her, and we had a great time talking to her, and I hope that you also enjoy this conversation with her as much as we did when we got to have it with her.
Yeah.
So, well, we're joined by world champion as well. You were with Team Canada World Champions and also now member of the Ottawa Charge in the PWHL, Victoria Bach. Thank you so much for joining us. This is really exciting for the two of us, and it's awesome to have you to be able to have this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I was like, I don't even know where to start, but we can start maybe even just from the beginning. I read somewhere that the reason why you got into playing hockey was the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake and Canada winning golds. Very iconically, I think we should all say. I think we've all seen the Wickenheiser clip played multiple times, especially I think this year for sure. But just, I think what I wanted to ask you was, what was that like now looking back after your career of representing Team Canada, having that come very full circle, I think, in your career, especially now playing in the PWHL?
Yeah, I honestly, it's kind of crazy because I remember that day like yesterday. I remember the gold medal game, and I was actually sitting at home with my mom and my dad, and I just remember seeing them win, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, girls play hockey, and because like growing up, not very many girls played hockey, like especially where the town that I was from, like, you'd go to the rink and I'd be one of the only girls on the ice with, a group of guys. And but for me at that age, obviously I was about 7 years old, I think, at the time. And I just remember turning to my parents and I'm like, I want to play on Team Canada one day. Like, I want to be like those girls and win a gold medal. Like, that's so cool, and represent my country. And I remember with some convincing, I got my dad to take me to the store and buy myself like my first set of gear. And I had joined skating lessons, and honestly just like really fell in love with the game of hockey. And I just remembered like when I first started hockey, I was like probably the worst one on the team. Like every team I was a part of, I was like messing up all the drills. But I just vividly remember like being so excited to be on the ice and like waving at my parents in the stands, and they were kind of like embarrassed, like, that's not our daughter, because like I couldn't skate. But yeah, I just loved hockey so much. And to see like kind of how that game impacted my career and made me really want to play hockey is so special. Especially now, obviously being, pioneers in our game, and, really creating this PWHL, our league, and then also representing our country. And it's kind of a full circle. I have a fun story about that. Obviously you mentioned, Wickenheiser, and obviously someone that's, paved the way for the game, but someone that I looked up to growing up. And actually in 2022, before the Olympics, I was centralized, and I actually had the chance of living in her house in Calgary, which was so cool. And I just remember I was living with two other teammates, Natalie Spooner and Ella Shelton, and I remember there was only like 2 bedrooms, and one of them was her memorabilia room. So I just remember walking in there and being like, wow, this is so cool. Like, I can't believe I'm, staying in her house, like someone I looked up to who, obviously inspired many people. But it's kind of a fun full circle story to obviously watch that game in 2002 to now be playing, representing my country, and then a cool story to be living in her house for centralization.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great. No, not to make you feel old, but like I had a similar experience, like, because I was both of us weren't alive in 2002, but for me, it was 2010. That was like remember watching both of those gold medal games. And it's just like, you're like, so this cool. Is the sport where I'm going to be a fan of. At that point, I was already skiing all the time. And so that was my sport growing up. other than hockey, but like it was one of those things where it's like I'm gonna be a fan of hockey for life. Was that like
Totally.
those 2 games for sure? So it's just one of those things. And then you went on to play for at Boston University BU, which is a high esteemed program for sure, where you, I think, not to loop back to Team Canada, I was like, I'm going to ask one question about Marie-Philip Poulin. I was like, this is where I'm going to do it, is your
Nice.
freshman year was the season after Sochi, which, again, another very big Canadian hockey moment for sure. So I just want to know, like, what was it like walking into that locker room, playing with her, and Rebecca Leslie was also on that team as well, like, just, and being in that environment as a freshman?
Yeah, super cool. Obviously that process getting recruited to go to like a Division 1 school was like insane. Like it was the coolest thing ever. I'm just like this young kid in high school and playing junior hockey at the time, and then getting all these letters like in the mail from different universities. And I just remember at one point there was like all these letters. I didn't even know what I wanted to study. I mean, I was the first person in my immediate family to go to university, so we didn't really know what was going on. And I just remember that process was super cool. And I visited a bunch of schools and I kind of narrowed it down to like a top 5. And I think for me, one of the, reasons why I chose BU, obviously I absolutely love the city. Like the first day I went to visit BU, I stepped on campus and I just like fell in love. I was like, this is such an amazing environment. I just remember going through their facilities and like meeting all the other athletes and seeing how tight knit that was. And, their obviously academics was amazing there. But another reason was because Marie-Philip Poulin did go to that school, and she was obviously someone that, is I looked up to, and a Canadian legend. I call her the GOAT, greatest to ever play. But so, obviously knowing that she went to BU and I could follow in her footsteps and then potentially have the chance to play with her for a season, it was a no-brainer. But I definitely was so excited to get the chance to play with my idol. And I just remember freshman year, like walking in, like obviously, you're new to the team, you don't really know anyone. And I walk in and I see her sitting in her stall. And it was something like I'll never forget. It was a really cool experience to get to play with her. And that year we actually went on a really good run and we ended up winning hockey. So we won our conference with BU. And yeah, it's safe to say it was a pretty, unforgettable experience to play with her there at BU. And obviously, yeah, like going to BU is like probably the best, 4 years of your life. Like you mentioned, I had the chance to play with Becca Leslie, who I'm now teammates with in Ottawa, was teammates with in Toronto. We were roommates for 4 years. So, we built a lot of chemistry on the ice. Like my senior year, we got to play together as line mates. And then obviously, being together now for quite some time. I think we've played on Team Canada together. We've played, nationals together. So that was a really fun experience to do that with her. And then obviously to be playing pro with her now is super cool. So overall, like that experience at BU is, it was the best 4 years of my life and something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you were talking about like deciding what to study, I'm also a comms major. I like so.
Hey, let's go. That's awesome.
So
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure, honestly. I'm like, I don't know what now. I obviously know what I want to do. Like, I want to be a teacher when I'm done playing, but I had no idea. And, comms, like I was in like creative, I was like doing like advertising and stuff. So yeah, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but that's cool.
yeah,
It's a
I was
good
like, fellow
major.
comms major, awesome. It's a great major.
Yeah.
Marcie's an archaeology major, so
Ooh,
Very
good for you.
yeah. I was gonna say, Mar, you had one that you wanted to ask her about BU, I think, as well, didn't you? Or
No.
no? I was gonna say just about like I wanted to ask you like about being the first in the program at BU on the women's program to score 100 goals across your 4 years. It's kind of one of those pretty momentous and hats off, incredible achievements to do, especially,
Thank you.
the compete level in NCAA is incredible. And I think you see it more now in recent years. People are starting to pay attention a lot to that sort of thing on both sides, men's and women's. But I just want to know, like, what was that something I don't want to say unexpected because I think no one really expects to, but like, how was that in terms of having to then, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this without it sounding like not, no, let's make it sound like a question, but just like, do you think it was that environment at BU or with like the team and sort of that allowed you to reach that accomplishment across your 4 years, and that thing where it's like you didn't obviously expect to set out and accomplish that for sure. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think for me, going in my freshman year, obviously, like you don't really know what to expect. Like I remember I was like so nervous because I was moving away from home and I had not moved away from home just to start. So, and then you're obviously a rookie on the team, so you're like, where am I going to be in the lineup? And I think for me, like I just went in with like an open mind. Like I was training really hard, and something that I think has really did help me at BU was just the confidence that the staff kind of instilled in me. And, we had an amazing staff there like all 4 years. And, they always kind of gave us the green light to play our game and, do what makes us successful to help the team overall. But I think a lot of credit goes to them, like really just, like I said, instilling that confidence in us. And at a young age, like as a freshman, knowing that you can go and in any given game, like you can produce and you can do well, regardless of if you're a freshman or a senior. So I think that's one thing that they did a really good job of that had really helped line me up for success there at BU. And then obviously getting to play with some amazing teammates and line mates there. I've played with some really special people who have, done some amazing things now post career, but it was great to have that experience there and play with them. And I think for me, just my senior year, like I feel like I got like a new like energy almost. Like I'm like, this is my last year of college hockey. Like, let's go out there and let's do this. And that's kind of something that, obviously you never really, you look back eventually when you're done university. Like for me, like you look back now and you're like, wow, that's really cool. Like that was a cool accomplishment. But like when you're in the moment, like you're not really thinking about those things. Like you're not thinking about individual accolades. Like we wanted to win Hockey East, we wanted to make a run at it. It's our senior year. So it's cool now to go back and obviously like kind of just reflect and kind of take it all in that yeah, that was a pretty cool accomplishment for me and something that obviously like I'm very proud of. And I think I worked really hard to accomplish those things. Like, in the summertime, any young kids are watching this, like, shoot your pucks, because I was shooting pucks all the time. Like I just, like I said, I love the game. And if I wasn't, if I wasn't at practice, I was home in my driveway, rollerblading, stick handling. It's like it was 24/7, hockey 24/7. So I think that's something that really helped me succeed as well.
yeah, awesome. I guess we can now kind of like shift into more like then going and playing pro. You played a couple different leagues. The PHW, that's an acronym.
It's a tongue twister. It's hard. Try saying that fast. I've messed up a bunch. Don't you worry. It's called the PWHL.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then also in the CWHL as well. So I know like both those leagues unfortunately now folded, but there's the PWHL now where I think there's that level of stability and that feeling of stability among players. And I just want to know, like, what was that like coming out of college, knowing like when you finished and you graduated, there was a level of uncertainty in terms of the pro hockey and it's not a full-time thing. You can't make a full-time salary off of it. Whereas like now thinking about the players who are finishing college now have the PWHL is like that. I don't want to say like I don't want to say guarantee, but as a lot more of a solid pathway in terms of continuing to play post college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So obviously it's kind of crazy now to like rethink like the whole journey and just kind of being, the creators of this new league. But I'll take it back to like right when I graduated university in 2018. Obviously at the time there was the CWHL and that was, so that we could keep playing. If you, wanted Olympic hopefuls, like to make Team Canada and stuff, like this was the best league to be playing in at the time. Like all the players were playing in that league. And So I entered the draft and I ended up getting drafted to the Markham Thunder. And, that was honestly like a great experience. Like for me being, right out of university playing with the best of the best, like all the top, players in North America, a couple of players came over from Europe, but, they were all kind of playing in the league at the time. But that league wasn't our full-time job. Like we all had full-time jobs, and obviously, as you can imagine, like how hard that would be balancing a career and then balancing like hockey. And I know a lot of girls, like myself included, like fresh out of university, I was working a job. Like I would take the train downtown Toronto. I'd be up at like 5 a.m. and I'd get back and we'd have late night practices at like 9 to 10, and then I would repeat. So from that aspect of it, obviously it was really challenging for us as females because, we love the game of hockey. We want to be at our best, but we're all exhausted. Like we're working full-time jobs. So that year after my, rookie season in the CWHL, I just remember it was like a Sunday. I was like sitting at home and we got this email being like the CWHL folded. And I remember there was like at the time around 200 of us, right? Like we're all like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? It was like what was it, a couple years out from the Olympics, and like all of us are without a league. And that's where we all came together and we're like, you know what, we want to create our league where it's going to be sustainable. We don't have to work 3 jobs to, play hockey. And so we all came together, and that's where we created the PWHPA. Sorry, is a hard thing to say. And that was really cool. I mean, that was a lot of work, and there's a lot of incredible people involved, like Billie Jean King and Jana Hefford, really starting this together, and like a bunch of the girls that are in the league now. And from there, basically what we did is we had showcase tournaments, and we would go all around North America basically, and like to different spots, and just kind of showcase our talent. We would play a weekend of games, and really just getting people to see what we have to offer, and really just getting women's hockey out there. And I think one of the biggest things was visibility. And obviously, like you alluded to at the beginning there, like not a lot of people were watching women's hockey. They were only watching it every 4 years, and not a lot of people were aware of how good of talent like we are out there. And I think that really helped us go into different markets. And one thing kind of led to another, and flash forward 2 years without a league, creating this league. And some of us were playing like maybe 12 games a season because we were just doing these showcase tournaments. And flash forward, now we finally have the PWHL. So it's been a crazy long journey, and obviously it's been really cool being a part of this creation of this league. And I like to say, like, we're kind of the starters. There's generations before us that paved the way for us, and now hopefully we're paving the way for this next generation that they can now say, I play hockey, like that's my full-time job. So it's honestly been so special. Like I can get more into it, but it makes me so emotional, like walking into a rink, a sold out, 22,000 fans, like seeing, I'm in Ottawa now, like walking down the street and people recognizing you. Like it just goes to show that visibility is so important. And, if we put our product out there, people are going to watch, and it's been really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, because Ottawa, like,
Sorry.
I'm here for school, so Ottawa's one of those places where it's like it's a city, but it feels like a small town in terms of like you
Totally.
will get recognized on the street and everything. So, and even so, it's like it's so cool that that environment then also is reflected through with the PWHL and like the players on your team that you guys have, because there's some stars there up and down that lineup for sure. And it's really cool now, especially just like with the takeover tour. I like seeing NHL arena like full size, 22,000, like sold out every single game, and they're like releasing more tickets every game because the demand is so high, is incredible to see.
Yeah, it's been so cool. I think the coolest moment for me this far would probably be last year playing where the Toronto Maple Leafs play at the Scotiabank Arena. Obviously growing up like in the Toronto area, like big Leafs fan, like
we're both
I
Leaf fans,
still
so
we're both Leaf fans. And I could tell in the background you have a wool jersey. So I'm like, I know you're a Leafs fan. So I'm like, I feel like you'll appreciate this.
I've got
But
mine
no, that
actually to the
was
side of me. So
yeah, no way. What jersey do you have?
I've got a Wool one, I've got a Nylander one up there, I've got a Riley one up there, and then of
Nice.
course Crosby because you can't not do
Yes,
Crosby. So,
you can't not. He's the GOAT. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I would say like that was the coolest experience ever. Like I'll never forget that game. Like it gave me chills, like just sold out crowd. And I just remember after I was like going to see like my family, like I had probably like 100 people there, like everyone came out, right? It was like the coolest thing ever. But I just remember walking out and there was a security guard there. She's like, "Hey, like I've been working with the Leafs like forever and like I've been working in this like arena for years and like I've never felt energy like that before." She's like, "Everyone had signs, everyone was screaming, like she's like it was the coolest thing ever to be a part of." And she was like, "I'm getting emotional cuz she's like I'm a woman and like I never had this." And she's like, "I'm just so excited for the next generation like and the people to come." So that was probably like one of the coolest experiences that I've had this far, besides the very first ever game. But it was just so cool, like playing in those stadiums. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And it's like league's going to expand next season, so there's that obvious promise of like growth for sure. That's like even
Hmm.
from as like from fans and stuff, it's one of those things where it's exciting for us because the visibility is higher than it's ever been for women's hockey. So it's easier to watch. And it's one of those things where it's like I've
Hmm.
had like guy friends of mine been like, oh, like put on the PWHL game because that was what's on. It's
Oh,
on TSN. This stuff's
that's
great. And I was
awesome.
like, yeah, it is. Like
That's so
it's
awesome. I
it's
love to hear that.
fantastic hockey. Yeah, like and it's one of those things and that's what's just so important for like the growth of the game, I think, as well, and everything like that.
Hmm.
And I guess now we kind of have to talk. I don't want to say the elephant in the room, but obviously you were part of not even arguably the biggest trade to happen for the PWHL so far. So obviously I think
Hmm.
Mar can take those questions if you wanted to go ahead.
Yeah. So like first off, like the initial reaction to the trade, like were you expecting it? Was it like out of the blue? Because like obviously it's you've been moving to a new city and like I know like in hockey everyone tends to know everyone. But like what was it like to slot into a new team and like find sort of your place in the team in a situation that was kind of unexpected for you?
Hmm. Yeah, honestly, it was such a crazy experience. Like, um, honestly, first of all, I just want to say, like, it's awesome that we have this. Like, it's awesome that we have trades. Yeah, they're hard, but I'm like, this is when like, we've made it. Like, this is what we've wanted for so long. And, like, it's a professional league and, like, trades happen. But it was kind of crazy. Like, I wasn't expecting it. I was sitting at home and I was actually like preparing for my game because I was playing against Toronto the next day. Or sorry, I was playing against Ottawa the next day. So I was actually just about to sit down for dinner and I was sitting down with my mom and I'm like, "Oh, that's weird." Like Gina, like our GM was calling me and I'm like, "Okay, that's weird." I was like, "What's up?" Like I don't know what's going on. So I like ran and took the call and I got on the call and she's like, "I just wanted to let you know you've been traded." And I like my heart like sank. I'm like, "What?" And then I was like freaking out because I'm like, "Where am I traded to? Where am I traded to?" And then she obviously said Ottawa. And then I was just like, it's obviously so many emotions. And I think it was crazy because then she said, like, "Well, you're probably gonna your GM's probably gonna want you to play in the game tomorrow against us." So that was kind of crazy, obviously. Like it was probably like the craziest 24 hours of my life. I'm like, wow, my life's about to change. And, I'm moving to a new city. I'm playing my old team, like all like my best friends, like the next day within like 24 hours and not even. So yeah, I didn't sleep that night, safe to say. Obviously you're getting a lot of text calls, a lot of emotions and But honestly, the transition here has been incredible. Being here, obviously, with my teammate from Toronto, Jocelyn. She's a really good friend of mine. I really look up to her. She's a legend in the game. And to make that transition here with her, we're actually living together, which has been awesome. So yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better person to make the transition with, and she's really helped make it easy. But we have a great team here in Ottawa, and a lot of great girls. Like, we have a lot of fun. It's a great locker room, and then obviously I think we're so skilled on the ice, and we have so much talent. And yeah, it's been really fun to transition. Obviously, like you said, hockey's a small world, so I've played with them, or played against them, or played college. So it's nice to have those prior connections. Makes the transition a lot easier and makes you feel more comfortable knowing a lot of the players, for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even from a fan's perspective, it was a crazy, like, shock because it was like one of those things, you get the tweet notification, you're like, that's crazy. And then you're like,
Yeah.
and it's like, then you're thinking of the schedule. I'm like, wait, but they played the next day against each other. So I couldn't even imagine having to like live through that then and having to
Yeah, it was
experience
crazy.
that.
It's funny you say that, because so my fiance was actually, he coaches hockey. He was on the ice, and I was like coaching, and I'm trying to text him being like, I just got traded, like, but obviously he's on the ice, but he has an Apple Watch. So I think he, like, there was like the TSN thing came in too, like shortly after. It was like, it showed like big trade, blah blah blah, 2 for 2. So that he was freaking out. He was like, I had to get off the ice. He's like, I couldn't believe it, like getting all the notifications on the watch. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy couple of hours. And then obviously so many emotions, but I think it's pretty cool. Like, this is professional sports now, and trades do happen. It's a part of the game, but just experiencing it and like being one of the first trades like that will probably be a pretty cool memory down the road to share with people. But I love Ottawa. It's a great city. As you can probably attest to, Emma. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great here. It's super fun. I love how I can just walk everywhere. Like in Toronto, I would sit in so much traffic, and as you probably know, and then here, like, I walk to the rink every day. Like, we live in such a fun part of the city, and yeah, there's always so much to do. And obviously the canal is really fun, but it's not
Yeah.
frozen anymore, but we got a good use out of that. But yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, Ottawa's a great city. I always say it's like, just wait till it's like slightly more warmer and you will be walking everywhere, because I walk
Yeah.
everywhere like during the fall and the spring and the summer if I'm here. Like, it's a great
Yeah.
city, and the canal, like, got lucky this year because it hasn't really been open the past couple. So, but it's just
That's what I
it's a great
heard.
city, and it's a hot, like, Ottawa loves their hockey, and I'm sure you've probably seen that from the fans and stuff. And
Mm.
I like wanted to just ask you,
Do they
because you've
ever?
had now the opportunity to play in three different like home rinks with Mattamy and Coca-Cola in Toronto, and now at TD with Ottawa. And I want Ottawa, for me, I find TD's unique because of the layout, where they don't really have tunnels. They just have the big main one, and then you walk by all the fans to get to the bench. So I want to know, like, what is that like then to play in those three different rinks, and then Ottawa specifically, of course, as well?
Honestly, like, I think it's really cool, the layout. It's so loud in there. Like, sometimes I can't even hear like my line mates, like, we're talking on the bench. I'm like, what? But I honestly think that, like, that interaction with the fans, like getting to walk by them, honestly, for me, that's like so special. It's why I play. And like, if I can inspire a young girl, even a young boy, someone that's at the game, and just sign an autograph for them, and like that could go a really long way. Because I remember being that young kid, and going to watch games with my parents, and like being like, oh my goodness, like one person even giving me a high five, like really just like that inspired me so much to want to be like them. So I think like having that aspect of the arena is so cool, like getting to actually interact with fans. And I really like to be involved with the community, and like it's been fun getting to meet some of the fans here, because in Toronto, obviously, I do a lot of like work with, different minor hockey teams and like organizations. So I'm around the kids a lot. But here, I think that aspect has been great, because you actually get to interact with the fans. And the fans are the reason why, we have success. Like they bring us up when we need them, and the fan base is great. And like I also really like the arena because it's such a cool layout, but the jumbotrons and stuff in Ottawa. Um, I really, really like Coca-Cola, obviously, as well. Like that's such a cool rink too. And it's pretty amazing that the girls are playing there. And funny story about that arena actually during playoffs, because that was kind of the first time that we got to test out Coca-Cola and like see what it's like. And so we had our playoffs there. And I remember the very first game, like I had so many family members coming, and apparently like they hadn't experienced that many fans in like a really long time. It was sold out, like 9,000 fans. And they had like all the security guards, like it took everyone so long to get in. Apparently they almost missed, like some people were missing puck drop because the lineups were insane to get into the rink. So I think that's so cool that, we're able to sell out arenas like that and just play in front of all those fans. So it's pretty cool.
TD is just a cool arena in general, like just because it's so unique in its structure. Like just everything about it is so unique that it's because it's like half bowl on the one side and it's underneath and connected to the field, like the football field. And I don't know, I just love like so unique arenas anyway. So it's like to get to go to games there fairly regularly is really fun. Because you don't see a lot of like those special unique rinks anymore getting built.
It's so cool. You really don't. And it has like a lot of history there. And it's also really cool, like obviously with the 67s there and everything like that. And just a really big community that, it's great to just interact with everyone. And, obviously you run into them. They practice before us. It's really cool. It's a pretty tight-knit community and the fans are like amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. I was at the Charge's home opener, which was against Toronto. So
against us, yeah. I remember
so
that. They beat us.
So I was at, they did. It was a great game though. But just like, and I had been at TD for like a couple of U Sports games and also some 67s games, but it was like that's the loudest I've heard TD ever like get.
So cool. Yeah, it was really loud. I do remember that game. Yeah, that's fun.
But yeah, I was like, I think you have one more, don't you? Or
yeah, mine was kind of half been answered already, but I was going to ask about like the interaction between teams and fans has become such like a huge part of hockey now, and especially like online. So like, what has like your experience been with fans, like in terms of how much attention the PWHL has received as a whole? And then like, have you noticed any differences between the fans in Toronto and Ottawa, like just with how you've interacted with them?
With the fans?
Yeah.
I would say like around the whole league, it's been incredible. I would say like Toronto and Ottawa very similar, like in terms of like we're selling out, in both markets, like every game, which is like incredible. Obviously you see a lot of passion. You see like people who are committed. Like I know most recently we just had a season ticket holder like open practice. It was such a cool experience. So anyone that had season tickets could come out, and our head coach was mic'd up so they could hear her like and they like brought the camera on the ice, like they showed the board, like her talking to us about like a certain system we're running or like a drill. So that's kind of cool because the fans actually get to experience like what it's like to be at a practice and like what it's like from a player's perspective. So I think we love our like the fans, and we always want to do as much stuff as we can to get them involved. And the fans overall within like across the league have been great. And then obviously like you mentioned earlier about going to the different markets this year, playing in the takeaway tour, like the takeaway tour games. Like it's been so cool. Like I know most recently we were in Edmonton, like where the Oilers play, and like they were so excited. Like I know a lot of fans were saying like they had been waiting for this game for the whole year. So just seeing different fans from all over different markets, both Canada and the US, it's so special. The fans are awesome, and yeah, like it's so, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so cool. Like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, just it's one of those, like, because I've been to a couple games and have had the privilege of going to a couple games because Marcie's obviously overseas, but it's one of those things where it's so cool. Even I went to, you didn't play in it, but I went into when the Charge had their game at the CTC against Montreal, and like even just that building like selling out and
Oh
everything as
yeah,
well. And I
so
mean,
cool.
it like Ottawa lost that game, but like Marie-Philip Poulin was getting more cheers than anyone else, obviously, because it shows her
For
impact to the
sure.
game.
Hmm.
But just like the fans and the fan appreciation, and especially, you have that experience now, like from last season playing in Toronto, but Ottawa is looking to make that playoff push in the last 7 games you guys have left now, 6. So like
Yeah, I think 7. Yeah, 7 games. Crazy.
and a lot of
Time
them are
flies.
against Boston, Minnesota, who is who you're fighting mostly for those spots for. So I just want to know, like, obviously there's a huge belief in that room that you guys are going to make the playoffs, and I think even among the fans, like they can see how good you guys are. But what has just that been like for you guys, just making that final push down the last stretch of the
Hmm.
season?
Yeah, I think, the group that we have, you kind of alluded to it, like 100%. Like we believe in each other and we believe in our team. And I think that, we have exactly what it takes to make that push and, to win the Walter Cup. And, the people in the room are great. And, I think for us, just really focusing and taking each game, game by game, I think that will be really important here with obviously a lot of really important games coming up. And obviously, not thinking about it too much, but definitely like knowing we got to get some points coming up here in these next couple games. I think that's the fun part about this league is, a regulation win is 3 points, which is a lot of points. So, a team could go on a run. You could play 3 games and, get 9 points, which is crazy. So just from that aspect of it too, it's like everything is so like nothing's really set in stone until it's, getting right to the final couple games there. But yeah, I think for us, just, continuing to work on what we need to kind of fine tune here with these next games. Like they're going to be really big games, they're really important games, but obviously not putting too much pressure on ourselves. But yeah, like I said, like just believing in each other and knowing that what we have in the locker room, like we have what it takes to be successful. So we just really got to make a good push here and make sure, we're like starting to get some more points and yeah, just really leaving it all out there. It would be awesome. I believe in the group, so I think we got a great group to do it.
Yeah, it's been a while since Ottawa's had a pro team make the playoffs, so it's now's the time, right?
For sure. Yeah, it would be incredible. Yeah, it would be awesome to make the playoffs, and I'm just picturing what that arena will be like. Be so cool.
It'll be loud. That's for sure. For sure. Yeah. Also, as well as I just want, because the Charge last week had their Indigenous representation game, and you and Jocelyn Rock is also as well. You guys played a big hand in that. So I just want to know, like, what is that like for you, being one of those Indigenous representations for in within the sport, especially, on the women's side as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important. Obviously, they did like Ottawa did a great job with that game, and I'm so proud that we were able to do that. And I think that continually needs to happen for the following seasons to come. Obviously, we were the first game, the Indigenous Heritage Night game, and then I think the other Canadian markets will also be having a game as well. But obviously special having Joss and I celebrate that night together. There was a lot of communities in attendance. And then I know for me, most recently, like 51 members from my community came out to a Charge game, and got to meet me after, and I just chatting with them experiencing a game of hockey, so awesome. But yeah, I definitely think being, someone, being Indigenous, being a role model. I think for me, that's the biggest thing is, growing up, like I didn't have very many, female role models, obviously, let alone those that were Indigenous. And, someone for me, I looked up to, obviously my grandma, she was Indigenous. So, she was a big role model to me. But I think for the game of hockey, like us having this platform now, it's so important that, people, know that they can, like, it's like if they can see it, they can be it. And I want young girls to be like, I want to be just like them. And, they see us, other Indigenous girls playing the sport and just trying it or trying something new. That's what I want to give back to that next generation. And obviously just be a role model for them. And so like a game like that meant so much to me. It was really special. And I hope we can keep that conversation going. I think it's the most important thing is just, really educating ourselves. And I know like a game like that really opens like awareness to, what Indigenous people have been through. And honestly, just like honoring the people of the past too, as well. And those that have continued to pave the way for people like us. So yeah, it was a really exciting day. And I'm really looking forward to what the future has with those games. And it was great to be a part of.
Yeah, I always think like it's one of those things where like those sort of nights are really important to just the growth of the game, but also it's one of those things where it's like you're now playing in a pro league where you can have those nights and have them be on a huge platform. Is really, really awesome for sure. And it's one of those things where it's like as a fan, it's just one of those like you just look forward to it and you're like, oh, this is so cool. And which maybe it's just the word of it, like word of this entire movie is just like, oh, it's cool. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty special. Like we've had a lot of really cool like themed nights, and I just think it's great that we do that in hockey. And like you said, it's a big platform where we can really, showcase. And I think it's just, yeah, I think that those games are really important. They mean a lot to us, and especially that one, it meant a lot.
Yeah. No, this was great. I don't know if Mar, if you have anything else or
No, I think we've covered everything.
yeah, I don't know. Like this was just fantastic conversation. That we were really looking forward to for sure leading up to this. And it's really awesome to get to sit down with you and to talk about PWHL, your career, and obviously like getting to play in Ottawa, which a great city. I've been now my 4th year living here. So it's one of those things where it's like you fall in love with it and it grows on you for sure. It's a great place, but like just a fantastic city to be in. And so it's really awesome to have you here now with the Charge. And we really like thank you so much for doing this with us. It really is really awesome. So
No,
yeah.
no worries. Thank you so much for having me on here. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, hopefully if you're ever in the area, obviously you are more, Emma, but if you're ever in the area, yeah, make sure to come to a game and go Charge. But yeah, no, this is great. Really appreciate it. Those were awesome questions. So thanks for the fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Perfect. Yeah. All right. So that was, I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Victoria. It was incredible. We had a great time getting to talk to her. And I once again want to say thank you to her for taking the time out of her really busy schedule at the end of the season to have a conversation and sit down with us. It really is fantastic. And with that being said, we will not be having a Thursday episode this week because schedules, and we're both very busy. But we will be back. So we will be back on Monday with probably a very long episode where we have to talk about a lot of Leaf games. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to this. If you want to never miss another episode, you can go follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's fourth with the number 4TH. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. or if you want to watch the video version of this interview, it's going to be up on YouTube as well if you're just finding us on Spotify. And also, we're presented by Offside News. You can find Offside News on all social platforms at Offside News Co. And you can also find all the articles that are written for the site online at offsidenewsco.com. And in between episodes, because I know it's going to be a long time, if you really miss Mara and I that much and you want to hear us talk about the Leafs or just be funny in general, you can find us over on Twitter at 60 Leafs for Marcie, at PWHL for myself. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening or watching, because this does have a video.
That's terrifying.
That's terrifying. But yeah, this one does have a video. But thank you guys so much. I don't want to say go Leafs. I mean, well, she is a Leafs fan, so we could say go Leafs go. But we'll also say go Charge go.
Go Charge go.